Hey guys, how's it going? Preparing here. So I've been playing Hearthstone, clocking in like 13 hours a day in the last 4 days or so, and man is it a blast. You know, I just log off at the end of the night. I'm like, holy shit, dude, that time just flew by. And yeah, maybe it'll lose its edge, maybe it's one of those things where it's just a really sweet game but it has no replayability, maybe. But you know, I've been playing card games for quite a while. I've been playing card games probably since like elementary school, man. I was like a little bit with Magic the Gathering. I remember even having like overpower cards, my favorite Marvel heroes, dropping in some Pokemon, going back to Magic the Gathering, you know, all through. These card games are really sweet, man. It kind of appeals to at least a person like me who plays video games, who's really interested into the sci-fi shit and a lot of the strategy-based games. And this is, you know, this stuff really delivered. But as far as the games go, it's kind of like one of those things that, you know, developed a little bit. The earliest really good card game that I remember was Pokemon trading card game, The Game. And it was like a Japanese port. There was like two versions. Version 1 was like all right, and it was like fully English, and then version 2 never got released in English, so you had to kind of really know how the system worked in the first version of the game to play it in Japanese, if you don't know Japanese like me. But yeah, that shit was so sick. You know, you go around with your Charizard deck, dropping some noob AI opponents, and then they give you packs. You open the packs, you get better decks, and you eventually, at the end of the game, fight the really good decks with your now really good deck. And it's pretty cool. It's kind of like that Pokemon Adventure, but it also combines a trading card game, and it was so fluid. And then around the same time, I was playing on these Magic games that were pretty solid at the start. I think it was Magic the Gathering Chandelier or something like that, where you go around with the same kind of concept, but you know, it was much more intricate. It just wasn't, in my opinion, it wasn't really necessarily better than the Pokemon one, and I'll tell you guys why. So, you know, I'm playing this shit all my life, basically, and all this stuff has been getting better and better, and Hearthstone is the last iteration of the card games, and these kind of things, you know, tend to improve. You know, as time goes by, people figure out what works, they make changes to their shit, and then they re-release it, and then bam, that's the new best shit. And over time, at least in the real-life department of the card game action, Magic the Gathering has been, you know, the top dog for many years. And, you know, they do a lot of things right. Largely, the game is incredibly complex, and the rules are fairly evident in almost every case. So, you know, when you're playing an opponent, he knows the parameters of the game as much as you do, which is really important if you want to keep it a competitive environment. And, you know, I've been playing Magic Gathering even online. I've been playing with Crippy. I remember the nights where, you know, it's like, hey, Crippy, you want to play some Magic Workstation? It's kind of like Magic Gathering online, but you don't buy the cards because you already bought the cards. So I didn't really want to buy them again online. But anyway, you know, we'd start at like midnight, and then, you know, by the time we, you know, like finish a series, it's like 7 in the morning or some shit. So there's obvious flaws to that stuff that are really highlighted in Hearthstone. And while Hearthstone, you know, anyone who's played Hearthstone or Magic the Gathering or even seen either game played, they can, you know, probably convincingly tell you that Hearthstone's a much more simplified version of Magic the Gathering. While they're absolutely correct, that doesn't mean that it's the inferior game. Hearthstone's really good, in my opinion, because of the, you know, the few things I'm going to mention here. Number one, it's really fast-paced. So when you're playing Magic the Gathering, especially like online, people take forever in their turns. It's so fucking boring. And even when you play with friends, even when I was playing with Crippy, you know, these games took forever. And, you know, yeah, you know, it's nice to have a perfect turn, but putting the time restriction, which Hearthstone has, and in some cases is pretty strict, makes it so you're kind of under pressure. You know, you gotta act quickly. You can't sit there and, you know, call a friend or some shit, take a 50-50 or something like that. You know, you gotta act. And that makes it a much more action-packed game. It makes the strategy, it makes the thought process ongoing. And that's really probably the biggest highlight that I could say. And, you know, probably other type of card games are going to copy this shit, because I think it's going to be a very successful game under a very successful rule set and model. The other is the deck building, and it's also related to time. So when I'm playing Hearthstone, the deck is smaller, but the proportion is the same. So you can't have more than 2 cards in a deck. So, you know, there is a little bit less strategy involved in that, but not really. All it does is really, you know, make the deck building process faster, and it makes the gameplay faster because you don't have 60 cards. So why is this important? Well, when I was playing with Crippy, when I was playing with other people, Magic the Workstation, all that, even in real life, you know, you'd spend like 60% of your time making the deck, maybe more than that, and then the rest playing and fucking around and showing it off and, you know, all the rest. Putting those cards in the sleeves. All that time is like wasted. Essentially, what you really want to do when you play these card games is you want to play the card game. And that's really what Hearthstone delivered, at least for me. You know, I wanted to go so far as, you know, when I was playing the base deck, hashtag base god or whatever, you know, I was playing with the decks that were given to the players when you first start the game. Because, you know, I knew, you know, I just want to focus on that, get better at the game, rather than, you know, fuck around with cards the whole time. I want to play the game, I want to learn to play the game better. And, you know, the deck that I start with, if it's already made, I'll just use that. So I use that for, you know, the first 2 or 3 days playing the game, and now when you do the arena, you select your cards from a random series. You know, the selection process, yeah, maybe it's like 15 minutes, maybe 20, but, you know, it's nothing. It's nothing compared to the other card games. That's really what makes Hearthstone really good. It's the online aspect, it's the fluidity of the game. You know, these are two things that, you know, Blizzard does not disappoint in any of their games. And then it's the actual part of the game itself that is much improved to what I've seen of other card games in the past, where it's all fast-paced. All the time you're spending, or, you know, the vast majority, is playing people. And that's really, you know, the biggest thing that Blizzard has introduced to the trading card game scene with their Hearthstone game. And, man, I'm pretty pleased for it. And I can tell that other people are as well, because, damn, suddenly there's a whole lot of you that want to see me play this fucking game. So it's a pretty sweet situation. Anyway, guys, hope you guys enjoy it. Hope you guys check out the game when it comes out. It'll be free, but, you know, with all card games, money does give you a pretty big edge in most cases. So you gotta be pretty careful about that, and we'll soon see how that'll end up. But for now, I'm out, and I'll see you guys later.